Ladies and gentlemen, what's poppin'? My name is Simeon Russell.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this is Off the Clock. And we got a quick show for you, ladies and gentlemen, because I am a Knicks fan.
And I'm not.
I'm a Lakers fan, born in Washington, D.C., but he's a lost. I guess I can understand because the Wizards.
Well, when I was born, they were the Bullets. So
yeah, true.
Not too much of a difference,
True.
but hey.
But, ladies and gentlemen, we're doing this because Evan Fournier lashed out at the New York Knicks. Yes, he lashed out at the Knicks.
He don't want to be there no more.
No, the Knicks don't want him there anymore. You know what I'm saying? There's no doubt about that. The Knicks don't want him there anymore. He didn't play all of last season. So I guess it could be, it was going to be expected. The article, I'm not exactly sure it was I know I put lash out because we need to get people watching the show. So, we, a little bit of clickbait for you. Not that much clickbait, but a little bit of clickbait. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it was a total lash out, but it came at the Knicks at least a little bit.
He was in his feelings. He was definitely in his feelings when you read that article.
He's definitely in his feelings. I can understand it, though.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because you have a guy who, the season before, he made the most three-pointers in Knicks history.
Number 3 three-point shooter in the league, I believe.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. At least that's what he says in the article.
Oh, okay.
Who knows if that was...
I mean,
he could have been.
Listen, Evan Fournier is a guy who has played on playoff teams. He's been, one of the top 2 players on playoff teams in Orlando, right? Him and Vucevic, that's now in Chicago. You know what I mean? So he's a veteran in the league, and he's proven himself to be a player in the league. And then now he's on the Knicks, and because Tom Thibodeau's the type of coach that really focuses in on defense, it's on the bench. He's not playing. He's sitting. You know what I mean? And I watch every single Knicks game.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So I can't sit here and say, Evan Fournier should have been playing, blah, 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 blah. My guy, International Andy, will disagree with me. And he'll say Evan Fournier should have been playing every single game. But, that's International Andy. It's my guy. That's my guy. But I don't know. With what Tom Thibodeau was trying to implement in New York, as far as, being, a defensive-minded team, Evan Fournier didn't really fit the bill, although he was the kind of shooter that the Knicks needed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially in the playoffs.
I mean, do you try to treat him like a Robert Horry type deal?
What do you mean?
Robert Horry, he wasn't like a real defensive player, but he can shoot. And there's a lot of defense around him, and they won championships.
Nah, okay. I see what you're saying there. Tom Thibodeau's not that kind of coach.
But this is in the early 2000s and 90s anymore. Teams are really good on offense. They can
right. And the Knicks needed what Evan Fournier brings. They needed it during the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? Because the Knicks couldn't hit a three for anything in the playoffs.
Nope. It looked like LeBron out
terrible.
there.
Yeah. It was terrible. You know what I'm saying? So the Knicks really did need what Evan Fournier brings to the table. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. But he did kind of lash out at the Knicks, man. He said, I practiced like it was the off season. Right? I ran a lot. I tried to progress. I've never been so strong, meaning, because he had to work out so much. He never been so strong.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily transfer to your feelings and your game. I need to find my rhythm playing one-on-one. Then against the opposition, when I realized I was no longer going to play, I radically changed my way of working. Of course, that's not really coming at the Knicks. That's just talking about, what he did and how he, had to adjust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He said, I was able to enjoy my wife, my children, the environment in New York. No more naps. I could drop my son off at school, pick him up. When I play, I'm very strict during the games. he said, I had reduced warm-up, cold bath. I didn't even attend the anthem, the anthem before the game.
Right.
He said, I was waiting for the game to start before going to the bench. He said, however, the situation did backfire on him one time. There was one time against Philadelphia on February 6th. Jalen Brunson was injured. R.J. Barrett arrived in the locker room sweating, told me that he was going to vomit. He wasn't in good shape. I'm like, oh, I'm going to play. I hadn't done the team warm-up. The game was on ESPN. I wasn't feeling well. It ended well, but it wasn't easy to manage. They asked him about, when he realized that he wasn't going to be able to play. He said, you want to spit on everyone. He said, you have hatred. He said, Derrick Rose and I looked at each other and said to each other, what the hell are we doing here? During the 5-on-5 practice, we were on the side like some prospects, uncool times. And when I realized that wouldn't change, I took things more slowly. I focused on myself, and I didn't let the rest of the game get to me anymore. I did 3 cardio sessions, 2 weight training sessions per week, a lot of travel work, game situations with assistant coach Daniel Brody. Asked about Tom Thibodeau. He said, I have nothing to say because I have none as far as his relationship with Tom Thibodeau. He said, when he took me out of the 5, he just told me he was going to try something else. Then at the first match of the road trip, he announced to me that I was leaving the rotation, and then ciao, right? It was gone. Of course, he has another year left on his contract, and he's still with the Knicks. He said, I would be very surprised to be a Knick next year. They pay me $18 million. They have no interest in keeping me. If you want to trade me with a good return, why didn't you use me? I was coming out of a season where I was the 4th best three-point shooter in the league. Why not take advantage of it? Now they won't get anything interesting, and that's normal because I couldn't show anything on the court. He goes on to say that if he stayed, it would be a disaster basketball-wise for his career. He said, I could manage a year without playing, but 2, that would be terrible. And, I mean, for the most part, he's been he's not been a guy that's speaking out, during the season when he wasn't playing. He was basically quiet and like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do what's asked of me. I'm not going to be loud and boisterous and say this and say that. You know what I'm saying? He just did his thing. Now, I think he wants to make sure that he's not going to be a New York Knick. That's the way I see it. He wants to make sure that he's going to get traded.
I agree with him 100%.
You know what I mean?
I agree with him 100%. I have no quarrels with what he said. Everything he said was spot on. He didn't lie. He didn't embellish anything.
True.
He was speaking the truth. And, he's a little frustrated, of course. A lot of that came out of frustration, but he's perfectly in his rights to do that.
He's in his right. He's in his right to be frustrated and be mad.
He's not saying coach isn't a good coach. Thibodeau's not a good coach or anything. He's just saying, I want out of here. I want to go where I can play and have some fun.
Yeah. Right. Where would that be?
Well, I did see in the article that somebody asked him about going to play for Pop over in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And he did say that, where was that?
I mean, he would probably work well there. I don't know if I think there was a rumor out there at some point that that he could possibly get traded to San Antonio. Pop would probably use him. He would use his skill set. But Pop also was a guy who wants defense.
Yeah.
And at this point, with the team that San Antonio has, they're very young. You know what I'm saying? They're really young, and he's not going to prioritize a veteran over young players. And I don't think he might use them, but I don't think he's going to prioritize a veteran over young players. I think, Evan Fournier commented a little bit about, being able to play with Victor Wembanyama because they're both from France, and working with the young guy and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's he doesn't have any power to force himself to San Antonio.
No, he has no power to do that right now. I mean, the Knicks aren't paying him a crap load of money right now. So if they really didn't care and just be like, you can just sit on the bench or not even come to the games, it's whatever.
It could. The Knicks are really trying to build a stronger culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I forgot to plug in my laptop once again, so you probably heard a bling.
Oh, yeah, I heard. I was trying to ignore it.
And, we talked about this before the stream, and I did it anyway. Anyway, the Knicks are trying to build a stronger culture.
Right.
And I think by having a veteran, part of your culture is not just the players on the court, but, how the front office treats the players. You know what I'm saying? And if you're just going to, if you sit and you let a guy rot on the bench, a guy that is in his prime, a guy that's been a 14 to 18 point scorer per game, you know what I'm saying? Teams, players are going to look and say, I don't know if I want to go there. I don't like the way they treat their players. So it wouldn't be a good move, I think, for the Knicks to have him sitting an entire year once again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've got to find a place for him.
Hopefully gets to go to a good team like the Spurs or wherever he does. He seems like he would like to go to the Spurs, but he doesn't seem like he doesn't have any objections to go to any other team.
Any other team, right? He doesn't have
he just
any.
Want to play.
Yeah. He wants to play.
He just wants
exactly.
To play.
You know what I'm saying? He wants to play. 29 years old, I think, going to be 30, something like that. He's in his prime.
Yeah,
he should be right now. He should be in the middle of his prime. You know what I mean? He can shoot the ball. There's no doubt about it.
I'm still trying to figure out why the Knicks don't play him. They don't have the Knicks aren't a scoring high scoring team.
The thing is this. In the beginning of the season, he was playing. Derrick Rose too. They were below 500. Both those guys got benched. Tom Thibodeau went to a 9-man rotation. And from that point on, they were one of the best teams in the league.
Until they made it to the playoffs.
But you can't argue. They still made it to the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can't argue with it. It's hard to argue with it when you benched them and your team got better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's hard to argue with that. Maybe you just don't fit there in New York. I think in the playoffs you could have used them because the Knicks needed shooting. They really needed shooting.
But were the Knicks 500 because of his defense, or were they below 500 because everybody as a team weren't great shooters at the time, or as good shooters at the time as they were near the end of the season?
I think it's partly due to the defense.
Okay.
I think it's partly due to the defense. For him and Derrick Rose.
Was Derrick starting?
No, he was coming off the bench. I do. I think it's partly due to their defense because, not everybody in the lineup was this great defender, but, they were pretty decent. And, sometimes Fournier was a little bit like,
a little slow on rotations.
Yeah.
And so. Gotcha.
Man to man, he wasn't sticking nobody. Not that he wasn't trying. I'm not gonna say. He was trying, and he could get into the passing lanes, but it was tough for him. It was tough for him. So, he lashed out at the Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. Evan Fournier lashed out, came at the New York Knicks, not happy about the way things went down in New York.
I wouldn't be either.
Not happy about it. And he let him know, now that and I'm pretty sure at this point he knows he's not coming back. And
oh yeah,
this right here. And yes, it was an interview, and he was just honest. He's always been candid. Mm-hmm. I will say that about him. But this right here is kind of probably making it. Hey, I ain't trying to come back.
Right.
And I think the Knicks are probably like, yeah, you ain't coming back. You ain't coming back. You know what I mean? Evan Fournier, I think, you got the World Games getting ready to go on, and he's probably going to show off in the World Games like he does every time he's there.
Going to play for France?
France, yeah.
Okay.
He's going to do his thing. I believe he's going to play for France. He normally does.
Okay. Is Victor playing as well? I
don't know. Not sure. I mean, if he does, that conversation, is going to go down.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure they've already spoken to the San Antonio Spurs. If he has interest and the Knicks have interest, and if Pop has interest, that conversation is taking place.
I mean, the Lakers could always use another 3-point shooter.
Yeah, they could, but I don't think the Lakers got anything, anyways, nothing that the Knicks want right now. You know what I'm saying? Because the Knicks are trying to get off of his contract or use him in a bigger trade to bring in a player. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're not just trying to,
It's just hard because there's only 1 year left.
It's 1 year left. You know what I mean? So, but that could be good for some teams.
Yeah, that's good for some teams.
That could be good for some teams.
Like they eat that $18 million for 1 year.
So we'll see. We'll see. A little bit of drama in what's been otherwise been a quiet off season for the Knicks. Besides signing Dante DiVincenzo, for the most part, it's been a quiet off season.
Very quiet.
It's
been quiet for everybody except for the Damian Lillard drama that's going down
saga.
Right now. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And somewhat James Harden, seeing how he now wants to go to the Clippers.
Yeah. Man, James Harden he doesn't know what he wants to do. He probably found out LA got the best strip club now. So he's like, hey, I want to go there. Send me there. Send me there.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what that's probably about. Send me there.
I mean, Russell Westbrook hanging them together again.
Wherever the best strip clubs are, that's where I need to be. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
Yeah. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick show. Now I'm about to jump on my MBK show.
MBK.
You know what I mean? Tomorrow we're gonna have a conversation about some boxing. Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
What's he doing? He's taking on a
UFC fighter. Taking on a UFC fighter in October.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that a little bit tomorrow. So make sure you join us tomorrow. I don't even know what time. Just subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and you'll get the notification when we're about to go live.
Yes, you will.
And, listen, it's a new show. A lot of kinks we're working out, so bear with us. We'll have it up to perfection soon enough, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Anyway, we appreciate your time. And, no outro because we're not up to that yet. So we just going to cut it off on you because we don't have an outro.